going to start with Trevor Daley. Trevor, yeah, let's hear for Trevor. While Trevor's coming out, I'll tell just a little bit about him. He was born in Toronto, played with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the Ontario Hockey League, and for the last 12 years has been a key part of the Dallas Stars. And in fact, this last year, set career highs in goals with 16, in assists with 22, and obviously with points too. So we are very happy to have him on our back end, Trevor Daley. Thank you. I love this because hockey has really taken off in Chicago, and of course we had Scott Darling this last year, a Chicago native. We've got another Chicago native, Vince Hinostroza. Vinny, come on out. Vinny was born and raised in Bartlett, Illinois. He came up through the minor hockey system here in Chicago. I believe played with the Chicago Mission. And most recently, he's just finished a couple years at the University of Notre Dame. So not only, yeah, a lot of Irish fans out here. So not only is he a great hockey player, he's a pretty smart kid too. Next up, Viktor Tikhonov. Viktor played with the Phoenix Coyotes a few years ago. The last 3-4 years we've been playing over in Russia in the KHL. And with a name like Viktor Tikhonov, yes, he speaks Russian, but you'll find out his English is excellent. He was born in Los Gatos, California. And I don't know if you know where Los Gatos is. It's just a little bit south of San Jose. And I used to do the color commentating for the San Jose Sharks. And Viktor's dad, Vasily, was an assistant coach for the Sharks. And before the Sharks would come on the ice, he'd bring Viktor out there. And he can't remember this, but I know I saw it. He was a 10-year-old kid skating around the ice, juggling 3 pucks. And that's the training that his dad had him doing. And you'll see that skill this year when he comes out with the Blackhawks. Next up from the Columbus Blue Jackets, Marko Dano. A lot of people might not know that name, but you soon will. He just has so much speed. I want to call it heart. He skates to traffic areas. He had an unbelievable season with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He started with Columbus. They sent him down to the minors. He came back up. I just want to make sure I get the numbers right. In just 35 games, 8 goals, 13 assists, but maybe more importantly, he was a plus 12. And he... originally born in Austria, he's Slovakian, so he plays for the Slovakian team. He's a big fan of Marian Hossa. He might get an opportunity to play with Marian Hossa this year. And we are certainly all looking forward to that. And I guess that leaves us with Kyle Bond. Kyle, you remember last year, got to play in 3 games with the Chicago Blackhawks, played very, very well. And due to NHL rules, he was signed during the season. He was a much sought-after college prospect. He played at Colgate University. And the Blackhawks, Stan Bowman did a great job of securing his services. But because he was signed during the season, he wasn't eligible for the playoffs, so did not play in the playoffs. But boy, he was lights out during the regular season. And just a quick story, and I want to embarrass him because I worked a Hockey 101 session with him yesterday. I think he knows where I'm going with this. And after he taught the kids how to shoot the puck, he missed the net a few times. And it was a ball, so I gave him a break. You know, hockey balls are a lot different than pucks. But afterwards, it was a signing opportunity, and these little kids were coming up just in awe of Kyle Bond. And Kyle was really good with the kids, asking him questions. There was one little kid, and I was watching him, and he just had a look of terror on his face while Kyle was just trying to, you know, make small talk conversation. And I noticed this kid was basically wetting himself. There was a little puddle of water underneath. And I think it was because he was starstruck with Kyle Bond, so... Well, you know, I'm going to start things off just, and I'll just go right down the line too. Trevor Daley coming over from the Dallas Stars. If you can, just in a few sentences, just, you know, tell us what life was like in Toronto, getting drafted by the Dallas Stars, and your feelings after finding out that you were, you know, traded to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Sure. Yeah, born, raised in Toronto, so grew up, you know, obviously a Leaf fan. Sorry about that. So you know, being able to go to a place like Dallas, spending 12 years in Dallas, pretty cool opportunity just to get drafted. But to be an NHL player for 12 years, when I look back, it's a pretty cool achievement this far. Talking to my agent over last weekend, had 5 or 6 missed calls from my agent and knew that something was going on. So I'm calling him, and he's asked me if I'd like to be a Chicago Blackhawk, and it didn't take very long to say yes. And no, pretty cool to come here, and to these last 2 days have been really overwhelming to say the least. We don't have stuff like this in Dallas, so yeah, exciting. But, looking forward to it, guys. I can't wait to get out there. The only thing sucks about getting traded in the summertime is that I can't play tomorrow. So it's going to be a couple more days, a couple more weeks before we hit the ice. So I'm looking forward to it.
The thing I love about Blackhawk hockey fans, they know their hockey. They really do. And we know the Dallas Stars, they play in our division. And if you know one thing about Trevor Daley, not only high skill, great shot, he's one of the fastest skaters you're going to see in the NHL. And just a quick question about your speed. Is it something you've always had? Is it something you work on in the off season? How did you get to be so fast?
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to thank my mom and dad for that. I don't know. No, I was always, you know, a skater and love to skate. I've been skating since I was 6. Outdoor rinks, on the ice, off the ice. I, you know, try to find time to skate always. So I don't know. I guess mom and dad. Thanks.
Yeah. Great genes, excellent genes. And yesterday I had a chance to sit down with Trevor, and I always like to pick brains of the opposition. Listen, he's seen these Blackhawks for the last, you know, 10, 12 years. And I asked him, and I'll ask him again, who the most dangerous Blackhawk he faced, and who he really didn't want to match up against.
88.
Yeah, that, you know, 88, Patrick Kane. And what is it about Kaner? I mean, obviously we get to see him a lot, but what's going through your mind when you see Patrick Kane coming down?
You know, when you got a talent like that, you know, Chicago uses them really well. When that guy comes through the neutral zone, and you know, he circles back and gathers his speed, and a lot of time I'm out on the ice against him, so it's kind of like, here we go. No, I actually got a chance to skate with him in the summertime last summer at a camp in Vail, and had a lot of 2-on-1s against him in camp, and never once stopped him. And I remember, sure enough, in Dallas, I think first game of the year was against Chicago, and I get that guy on a 2-on-1. I'll just let you guess what happened, but I'm excited not to have to take 2-on-1s on him anymore.
Well, what you're really going to be happy to find out is now that Kaner's on your team, he pushes the D back, he does that patented button hook, you're going to be coming up the ice as a fourth guy, and you're going to be wide open. So just make sure you're banging your stick on the ice and yelling for him. All right, the local kid, Now, Vinny, I believe it's Hinostroza, and I hope I'm not, it is, okay. Just, again, tell us, growing up in Bartlett or wherever it was in Illinois, and then your path to the University of Notre Dame, and what you hope to bring to this team.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming. I'm Vinny Hinostroza. I'm from Bartlett, Illinois. Born and raised. So when I was about 3 years old, I started playing. I went over to the Blues organization out of Bensonville, and then over to the Chicago Mission. So I'm sure we got some Mission players out there. When I was about 16, I moved away from home to play junior hockey in Waterloo, Iowa. So that was a huge experience for me, leaving my family at a young age. But I think it's really prepared me for my hockey career and really helped me mature as a player and person. After my junior career, I went over to Notre Dame. I had 2 years there, so it was a great experience. I learned a lot off the ice and a lot on the ice as well, so I'm very thankful for my 2 years there. But getting drafted here, it's an amazing opportunity. You never know if you're actually going to sign here or whatever, so I'm really happy this day has finally come. It's fun to be on this side of the table. So.
What Vinny is too humble to tell you, he made the all-rookie team as a freshman at the University of Notre Dame, so pretty big accomplishment. First off, Hinostroza, I'm going to guess. No, I don't even want to guess. What nationality is that last name?
It's actually Ecuadorian.
Ecuadorian?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
Both my dad's parents are born there, so my middle name is actually Enrique. So.
Yeah. And have you ever been down to Ecuador?
I have never, but I'd love to go there, see the Galapagos Islands and stuff.
Yeah. So. Well, obviously growing up in Chicago, and you've been able to witness, I'm sure, back in 2010, their first Stanley Cup. You're still relatively young. Who were some of the players that you tried to study, you really watched, and you keyed in on?
Yeah, obviously, in junior high and freshman, sophomore year, hockey started getting really popular in Chicago. Before that, it wasn't really that popular, but I think once Kane and Taze and all those guys started coming over, Chicago kind of went nuts, and I actually have their jerseys and stuff, so it's been cool growing up and getting to watch those guys and now hopefully be able to play with them. So.
Well, really good role models, and that's the thing about this team, the Blackhawks, and I feel like I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world. We get to cover a team that's very talented and obviously, very good, but they're also really good people, and I think that's, you don't always get that combination in sports, great athletes, but great people. And it starts with Jonathan Taze, yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure you people experience it too. Just the interaction with the guys at signings and everything else. They care, and that's what I notice maybe the most. I want to ask, because I've got a youngster. He's 14 years of age. My little Stevie. He's played with Team Illinois. He's playing with the Blues. He's trying out for AAA hockey now. What if somebody came to you for advice? A 14, 15, 16-year-old. What would you tell them to do as far as, going the college route, going the junior route? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but, your experience, obviously you took the college route, but what would your advice to parents be?
I think, obviously, your little player has to take a step back and realize what kind of player they are. Like, I wasn't a very big guy, so going to college was huge for me. Just a lot of working out, a lot of practicing, not as many games, so usually the more mature guys go to major junior because their bodies are more ready to play pro in a pro style game. So I think you really just have to take a step back. You're never in a rush. You see guys coming on really late and blooming, so don't rush it. Just do what's best for you.
Great advice. Vinny, thanks very much. Next up, Viktor Tikhonov, and that name might be familiar because, as you remember back in the, I guess, late 60s and 70s, and certainly in the 1980s, Viktor's grandfather, another Viktor Tikhonov, was the head coach of Team USSR, Team Russia. And yeah, well, we can cheer for Russia, why not? He is legendary in coaching circles, especially in Russia. 3 gold medals in the Olympics, 8 gold medals, world championships, and obviously Viktor comes from a pretty strong bloodline. But getting back, and I'm going to have you just take the mic, Viktor. Talk about growing up, if you can remember any of that stuff in Los Gatos. But then his dad, Vasily, went and coached the minor league team for San Jose, and they are in Lexington, Kentucky. And I know you played some hockey in Lexington. So just talk us through that, and then your time in Phoenix. And I also want to know about the KHL. So if you can remember all that, just take us through it.
Yeah, it's a kind of a long story, but Steve, you were kind of close. I was actually born in Riga, Latvia, and we moved to Los Gatos when I was about 4. So I guess you could say I grew up in the States. And it's true, yeah, my dad coached for the San Jose Sharks for about 7 years. Had a year in Kentucky where I played, a year in Kansas City. I think it was the IHL back then. And when I was about 12 years old, we moved back to Europe. He coached 2 years in Finland where I played, a year in Switzerland. And when I was about 14, we moved back to Russia, so kind of all over the map. And I think when I was about 19 years old, I got my Russian passport. I got a call for the Russian national team for the World Junior Championships, and had a good tournament, got drafted by the Phoenix Coyotes. Was lucky enough to play a year in the NHL, and didn't quite crack the lineup next year, so decided that I need a little more time to mature, improve my game, and 5-6 years later, here we are, back in Chicago, and hopefully give it another run.
My first question is, when are you going to lose that thick Russian accent you have?
I'm actually training to be a spy after hockey. So right now, a lot of my summer work is accent and languages.
Well, you know you've got the best hair in the NHL now, right?
You gotta be known for something, and that's the only thing I seem to be good at the moment.
Now, how did I get my notes all screwed up? I thought you were born in Los Gatos. So you're born in Riga? Okay, so that's in Latvia.
Yeah, Riga, Latvia.
Okay.
Finland for 2 years, and then moved to Los Gatos when I was 4.
Did you play in Lexington, Kentucky at all?
I did.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
okay, good.
I did play. Yeah, you were right about that.
All right. I was going to shoot my stats person, but you're good. Just going back to your dad, who passed away a couple of years ago, your grandfather has passed away. What kind of advice, because those guys, I mean, you know, talk about elite coaches, what kind of advice did they give you growing up?
Well, I usually was hard on myself after a bad game, and I think it's pretty easy for them to recognize that. And one thing they always taught me is a little bit kind of what Vinny said, is take a step back, and you know, a loss isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something you can learn from. You know, you kind of just gotta analyze and make yourself better, and you know, that's kind of calmed me down a little bit, and definitely made me a better player.
You mentioned, and again, a humble guy, you mentioned you played for Team Russia. He was in the World Championships in 2014. You guys won the gold medal, right?
Yeah, correct.
And he was also the leading scorer in that tournament. All of a sudden, the Blackhawks go from no Russians to, I believe now, maybe 3 Russians next year. Artem Anisimov, who was here, I think he might have flown home, or he's flying home today. What can you tell us about his game? Do you know him at all? And the other kid, and I don't know his first name, it's Panarin.
Yeah, Artemi Panarin here.
What is it?
Artemi?
Artemi Panarin, yeah. Tell us about those two guys, what they might bring.
Well, Artem Anisimov, I think you guys got to know him a little bit the last couple of days. He's a big guy, skilled. You know, I've had a privilege of playing with him the last couple of years at the national team, and you know, he really knows how to use his size well. Is a lot more skilled than he looks. You know, he's a hard worker, and you know, once he gets in front of the net, he can do some magic with the puck. So I think you guys should definitely be excited about him.
Just one last question about the Coyotes, and I know it was a while ago, but who were you playing with back then? Can you remember who your line mates were?
I was playing a lot with Marty Hansel, Dan Winnick, a little bit with Kyle Turris, Mikhail Bodker.
Yeah. Well, we are really looking forward to this season with Viktor Tikhonov. Viktor Tikhonov.
Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
Marko Dano, of course, part of that deal that saw Brandon Saad go to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We got an awful lot in return, and I think the real wild card, the real dark horse, is this next gentleman, Marko Dano. Born in Austria, parents, I believe, are both Slovakian. His dad was a hockey player, and then last year I mentioned just a breakout season, just 30-plus games, and puts up a bunch of points for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Marko, if you can, just tell us what life was like growing up early. And I know that you didn't spend a lot of time in Austria, but in Slovakia, and then just getting to the NHL and playing in Columbus.
Yeah, like I was born in Austria because my mom was working there, and then back home, I'm from the hockey family. So from young age, I started playing hockey, and yeah, it was a good time back home. And I mean,
yeah. Yeah, you know what? It can become a blur. What position did your dad play, and what kind of advice did he give you? Because I know he played hockey. What position was he, and what did he tell you about being a hockey player?
he was a center, and he told me he gave me advice all the time. And one time he was coaching me also. So yeah, it was a good time to playing under him, and now he's having fun to watching me in here, and
well, yeah, it's funny. I'm listening to all these guys talking about their dad's advice. I talk to my little guy Stevie, and he totally blocks me out. He won't listen to one word I have to say. So I'm glad you guys listen to your dads. Talk about last year. I mean, you really turned a lot of heads. Obviously, Stan Bowman and his staff here in Chicago. Who did you play with, and what was your biggest adjustment to the NHL after having grown up? And I know you guys realize a North American rink is a lot smaller than a European rink. A European rink 15 feet wider. So just talk about who you played with in Columbus, who your line mates were, and just the difference in the game.
From the beginning, when I got called up back again in the end of the season, I was playing with Artem Anisimov and Nick Foligno. And then we switched it up. I was playing with Scott Hartnell and Alex Wemberg. So yeah, it was fun, and the adjustment. Yeah, everything is happening faster, and you got to be ready for the contact, and just make quick decisions. And back in Europe, you have more time with the puck, and you can make a better plays. But in here, yeah, it's good. Everything is closer, so we can score from every position in the offense zone. So yeah, it's a good thing.
And one last question: you're gonna probably get an opportunity to play with Marian Hossa. You're certainly going to be teammates with him. What does that mean to you? And what kind of stature does Marian have back in Slovakia? I mean, obviously we get to see him each and every game, and he just means so much to this team. But just talk about what you know about Marian Hossa.
I mean, he's a great guy, and also a great hockey player. Pure example of a two-way player. So, yeah, back home he's a big star, and he has great personality. So, yeah, he's a really good guy, and you know that. So, it's gonna be fun to play with him.
Yeah. Well, you're a really good guy too, Marko. We're really looking forward to this year. Thanks so much.